Here to bring some common sense to all of this is actor and director Scott Baio. Scott, thanks so much for taking the time. It's good to talk to you about this. You tweeted out today, glad Hollywood made the homeless leave the area around the Academy Awards so they can award Best Picture to a movie about a homeless person. There is no greater irony, is there, Scott?
Yeah, that was actually a retweet, Rob. But
okay.
Yeah, this town is you know, it's almost not even worth making fun of anymore. It's not worth putting in anybody's monologue on the late shows, which they don't make fun of anything liberal anymore. It really is a problem here where you, on any main drag in the San Fernando Valley here or on the west side in Los Angeles, you can't go 2 blocks without seeing 4 or 5 homeless people or a couple of tents or a whole bunch of tents. If you go downtown, it's insane. If you go down to the beach, go down to Venice, you would think that there are no people there other than homeless people. It is bad. It is very bad.
And think about what's going to happen if they bump up the minimum wage. We jump that up to $15 an hour and you lose all those low-wage jobs. It's going to get even worse. I mean, some of these liberal policies, they just don't understand what they're going to do if they're actually implemented. I want to talk about something. We saw the Oscars ratings plummet. Which, of course, we really enjoyed seeing. We watched the actors criticize cops again. They went far left. How insane is it to watch everybody focus on a handful of potentially bad police interactions every year, which is what we're doing as a country right now. We're focusing solely on that and ignoring literally hundreds of deaths a day as our cities deteriorate and crime goes up.
Rob, the whole paradigm has shifted. It's bad people are good, good people are bad. I don't know what to make of it all. I mean, I watched about 20 minutes of the Academy Awards last night, and frankly, I was embarrassed. I don't know. I don't care who was on it, what the awards were. It looked like an amateur show. They had a game show in the middle of it. They had poor Glenn Close shaking her rear end around. And the whole situation here is embarrassing. And you know, it's unfortunate because I live here.
Right.
I moved here in the 70s, Rob, and this was
paradise.
One of the most beautiful places on the planet.
Yeah.
And it's basically dead. It's sad. It's so sad. And all we do is complain about it. Nothing changes. Thank God we got the recall on Gavin Newsom, so hopefully something will start to change now.
Yeah.
But, you know, people at a certain point, Rob, people in this state, for ideological purposes, will give up their freedom, their health, and their safety. And it's amazing to me. You can't walk out of your house here, really, without going. You can't go to a supermarket without being accosted by a homeless guy. And I can't understand if somebody is a Republican and they can fix this, they will not vote for him.
Yeah.
They are ideologically driven, period. Right. And that drives everything that they do. And it's incredible.
Yeah, they vote for worse consequences for themselves. They vote for higher taxes and more crime and more nonsense. It makes no sense. It's idiotic. But
all anybody wants to do is go on Facebook and get a couple of likes.
Right.
And ignorance is the biggest problem in this country, Rob.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's that. You mentioned Gascon earlier. Nobody. If you watched the ads for his when he was running for what is he, Attorney General?
District Attorney of L.A. County, yeah.
If you would have watched the ads, you would have thought this was the toughest guy on crime that ever walked the planet. And that's the game they play. Nobody investigates. Nobody does any homework. A lot of people out here are ignorant.
Unreal.
And that's the problem.
You guys are losing a congressional seat. Your taxes are going up. A lot of people are leaving. Do you think you'll ever go? Do you think you'll ever leave?
I almost left about 6 months ago. We almost went to Utah, but different circumstances changed, and so I'm sort of stuck here. I have friends, family. My daughter has a wonderful school here, and I just can't. I can't give it up right now. Yeah. And they got you here. They got you here with the weather. The weather here is pretty dang good, and it's hard to give up. But hopefully, I pray that something will change here and turn this state around because it is it can be wonderful.
Yeah, it has to get bad enough for the change to happen, like New York City had to get bad enough for Giuliani to get in. That's the sad news. Actor, director Scott Baio, great to talk to you, sir. Thank you so much for the time.
God bless you. Thank you, Rob.
All right. I want to welcome in comedian and author Adam Carolla, host of the Adam Carolla podcast, to talk more about all this. Good to see you, Adam.
Good to see you, Rob.
I want to start with Black Lives Matter. This is in the New York Post today. This cracked me up. BLM leaders jail reform group reportedly spent $26,000 at a luxury resort. You can see, I think they stayed in Malibu where they stayed, not too far from you. Pretty nice place for Marxists. On your podcast, you spoke with Jason Whitlock about BLM co-founder Patrisse Cullors buying multiple homes, a couple of them in LA. Take a listen to this.
Do you know Topanga Canyon?
Not really.
Topanga Canyon is so white that the people are actually clear.
It's a good way to put it. It's kind of like Malibu Light over there in Topanga. Priceless to watch this woman abandon the communities that she claims to fight for. You see BLM spending money at luxury resorts. What a joke this all is.
But could it go any other way? I mean, do you actually think Black Lives Matter was set up to help young black people or middle-aged black people? And if it was, I would love to see the proof of it. You know, they're not focusing on the problem because all their attention is on the cops, when obviously the black lives that are being taken in overwhelming numbers are being taken in the inner city. So if this was actually something that they were concerned about, then you would hear them talking about the inner city and the violence that goes on in the inner city. But that's not part of their narrative.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely not. And again, one of the biggest problems, BLM obviously is a cancer. We know that. But you also have this DA. You've got this Gascon who's proud to let out criminals in L.A., saying in 3 months, I've cut prison sentences by more than 8,000 years. Wow. I mean, we're supposed to be impressed by a statement like that. Remember when being tough on crime was a good virtue? How does, and here's a real question for you. How does a mind like George Gascon's work? Like go into his mind for a second and explain to us how you think he functions and operates. I can't figure it out.
I think these guys hang out at very small cocktail parties on the West Side and just pat each other on the back. It was sort of why Hillary Clinton lost the election. They don't understand that there's people who go to a Home Depot, who live in the middle of the country, who have family values, who like listening to country music. They don't think those people exist, or if they do exist, they're deplorables.
And they just, I guess they just, and does Gascon just generally assume that if you just let everything just rot out and let crime just take over, at some point we get to a utopia? I mean, where does he think the end game is? He sees these numbers going up. He sees what he's doing.
These guys are fools. They think that, you know, man is good, and if you just step back, the goodness of man will sort of kick in, which is like saying nature is good. Okay, just step back and let your lawn go. Never fertilize it, never mow it, don't pull any weeds. Just step back and let nature take its course, and you tell me what the lawn looks like in 6 months.
Or jump over the fence at the lion exhibit at the zoo and see what happens. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Right.
Finally, people thought it was a long shot at first, but you've got this Gavin Newsom recall. It's happened. You're going to need a lot of, it appears, Democrats to say enough is enough. How do you think this plays out? I mean, will they throw? Would they be smart enough to throw a candidate up there that, you know, is somewhat liberal? I mean, can Caitlyn Jenner do this? What do you make of all this?
Caitlyn Jenner's funny because I was talking to a friend of mine and they said, well, they'll cut her break because she's in the trans community and they have to bow their heads to the trans community. And I said, oh, she'll be trans like Candace Owens is a black woman. Give it 2 minutes and all the left will be, you know, politicking to get rid of her. And it took all of 2 minutes before all the idiots in Hollywood came out against Caitlyn Jenner. So, no, they're not going to, the left is not going to accept her.
No, I think you're exactly, I couldn't agree more on that. Comedian Adam Carolla, great podcast he has. Thank you so much for joining us. Good to talk to you again.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.